The PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 era saw a lot of high-quality games ported to the personal computer. At the time, most of those games were not available in any portable format. However, with the Win600, I decided to go back in time and revisit the numerous offerings that were available on PC. In this video, we're going to journey back to the early 2010s and look at a selection of PC games running on the Win600. The games shown in this video were selected based on the following criteria. They were released before 2014, they had a PC port, and they should not have had a portable release. One last note, for every game shown in this video, I will have all of their settings, frame rates, and tools that were used to hit the targets down in the description below. So with that out of the way, I'm Rob, and thanks for tuning in to the Retro Tech Dad channel. First on the list, and we're technically cheating with this one, is Journey from That Game Company. It was originally released for the PlayStation 3 exclusively in 2012, and it would not get a PC port until nearly 10 years later. Regardless, it does fit our criteria, and if you haven't tried this game out, it's well worth playing. Now, if you aren't already familiar with That Game Company, Journey is one of their earlier success stories, but in more recent times they are known for Sky on mobile and Nintendo Switch. Next up is Strider from Capcom, and no, not the arcade game that most of us think of. Instead, Capcom released a sequel reboot of sorts in 2014, and it was actually developed by a Western studio based out of Irvine, California, known as Double Helix Games, who was probably more well known for their Killer Instinct reboot on the Xbox. For me, this is an awesome Metroidvania style game with great graphics, incredibly fun gameplay, and it runs and looks great on the Win. So if you haven't tried this one out already, it's well worth playing. For our next game, we have Castlevania Lords of Shadow, and this one was developed by Mercury Stream and released on PC in 2013. Now, this name should be pretty familiar to Nintendo fans because they actually worked on Metroid Samus Returns for the 3DS, and more recently were responsible for the fantastic Metroid Dread. This game actually serves as a reboot for the Castlevania series and features Gabriel Belmont in a 3D action-adventure style game. This one's a lot of fun with really great gameplay mechanics and just overall great design. Highly recommended, and also runs well on the Win. It's no secret that I love shoot 'em ups, and this next game on our list is no exception. It was surprisingly released in 2013 as an Xbox 360 exclusive in Japan before finally making its way to PC in 2020. This game is an absolute joy to play on this device, and shockingly does not have a portable release despite Cube Corporation's other well-known titles, Judgment Silver Sword and Esctoast, being released on the Switch. So if you are a shmup fan, go check this one out.
Wow. What happens in Dubai stays in Dubai. Come on back.
Created by German studio Jaeger Development, Spec Ops: The Line is a third-person shooter released in 2012. According to Jaeger, the game was influenced by films such as Apocalypse Now and was designed to be more than another mindless war-based shooter game. Instead, the game is heavily story-driven and is one of the things that sets it apart from other first and third-person shooters. Today, the game is sort of a cult classic, and despite reviewing well, it was not a financial success, and the Spec Ops series ended with this entry. I completed this game some time ago on the 360, but it has been a very fun game to revisit on the Win600. And if you haven't tried this game or heard of it, I recommend giving it a look.
Pretty banged up.
Unacceptable. They should be victorious or dead.
They're putting up a good fight, all right.
Then put up a better
Our next title is sort of a rarity. It's a licensed game published by Activision, and it's actually good. War for Cybertron is based on the Transformers franchise and is a third-person shooter developed by High Moon Studios, who unfortunately are now stuck as part of the development cycle for the Call of Duty franchise. I would love to see High Moon Studios make a return to the Transformers franchise at some point, but unfortunately that's pretty unlikely since I don't think Activision has the license to the Transformers franchise anymore. Regardless, both War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron are definitely worth checking out on the Win600.
Stay with me!
Our next entry is a fantastic open-world game by United Front. The game was originally planned as a true crime sequel but was stuck in development limbo and eventually cancelled by Activision. However, a few months later, Square Enix picked up the publishing rights. The game was retitled to Sleeping Dogs and would finally find its way to store shelves in 2012. Since then, the game has found decent success and has continued to find more success being remastered and re-released. Personally, I find that I enjoy Sleeping Dogs more than any of the Grand Theft Auto entries. There was just something captivating about the world that Sleeping Dogs was set in. I found the gameplay, storytelling, and graphics all to be top-notch. It is 100% well worth checking out, and I may go as far as saying that if you were going to check out any game from my list, I would put this one as number 1.
This is our express elevators. Take aim! Alright, let's not waste time getting through here.
Originally, this spot was reserved for Vanquish, but unfortunately I could not get that game to run on the Win600, most likely due to a poor PC port. So I decided to change it out for another Sega game that has a similar feel to what Vanquish is. And this game is called Binary Domain. And Binary Domain is another kind of shooter game from Sega that came out around the same time. And for most people, this game kind of came and went, despite it being really cool and kind of a unique entry of an original franchise.
Just trying to help, but if you'd rather just get it over with, fine by me. I don't need that crap. Get in the fight, man.
You can always grapple hook your way up these towers.
Just Cause 2 is a 2010 open-world action game that was created by industry veterans Avalanche Studios. The Just Cause franchise is probably the series that the studio is known for. This is another open-world entry with over-the-top action and gameplay, and is a substantial improvement over the original. The grappling hook, stunts, and general world design are great. The game is nicely optimized and plays fairly well in the wind.
Brace yourself.
Wait, brace for... Oh my god!
Driving would be easier with my glasses.
And finally, the last game that I'm going to be featuring here today was actually one that I came across being mentioned on Discord. So I checked my Steam library and I actually owned both Saints Row 3 and 4 and figured to run the newer game since I was interested in seeing how recent we could go with the Win600 in terms of 3D based games. This game is an open world game and it's not the only one that I featured on this list. However, I will say right now that I do not have a lot of experience with the game. The last Saints Row game I actually played was Saints Row 2, so for me this is actually a brand new experience. I've never played this game before and I was immediately hooked on the game just from the intro, which was beyond hilarious, and it's definitely what I remember of Saints Row as a series. Again, it's one of those games that I just prefer more than the Grand Theft Auto franchise. I much prefer the over-the-top silliness of the Saints Row franchise, and I'm really happy to say that this game does run fairly well on the wing. And so with that, we've come to the end of the games that I'm featuring today. Being my first YouTube video ever, please let me know what you think of the video overall. If you have any games that fit the criteria that I set out in the beginning, please recommend them down in the comments. This is the Retro Tech Dad, and thank you so much for watching.